Hi guys, how are you doing? I hope that you are doing well. I am doing fantastic. I am like super excited. This morning, God gave me the rest of this, and I know that this one is finished. So let us begin. We are diving into Tassar, okay, and what that actually means. So if you haven't watched video one, which a lot of you didn't, uh, I would suggest you go and watch that one because we are moving forward with part two. Okay? So the Paishan River can also read, it reads that, as the gold of that land is good. Okay? Bdellium and lapis lazuli are there. Lazuli, what? I know how to pronounce lapis lazuli. What? Okay, are there. All right. So the fallen angel Azazel taught what? He taught swords, knives, shields, and breastplates. Now, I know a lot of people, when they see breastplates, they think, oh, it's just a part of armor. No, it's a little bit more in depth. Okay, think about the priestly garments. All right, so this isn't just any kind of breastplate. Think about the garment of the priest, okay, in use with the Urim and the Thummim, the metals of the earth and the working of them, and bracelets, all kinds of costly stones. Okay? Um, Many moons ago, I took this delicious class on working with energy, and it was taught by this fabulous man who I've only come across him a couple of times, but he's absolutely fabulous, and he's one of the magical people on the earth. And he had this small book that had diagrams of bracelets in them because he makes jewelry. But the type of bracelets that were in the book, it dealt with energy. So think about the cuffs that Superwoman, is it Superwoman? Superwoman, Wonder Woman. Think about the cuffs that she had and how those worked, as projectors of energy. All right. Like we think that we have the best of the best, but no, man has only gotten worse as time has gone on. Um, we have no idea the type of angel technology that exists out there, um, and how to really work it. But God. There is a holy way to work it, and there is a unholy way to work it. Okay? So just think about that. All right? So when Noah was in the ark, there was no light. There was no light from the sun or the moon or the stars. So God told him how to have light while in the ark. The stone told him the time by how bright or dim it was. Do y'all remember when God told me to tell y'all that the light in Genesis 3 was not the sun? Because the sun hadn't even been created yet. And in the word, God calls it the greater light and the lesser light, not the sun and the moon. Okay? The greater light and the lesser light. That's what God calls it. All right? Um, so those hadn't even been placed in the sky yet. So when God said, let there be light, that light is different than the light from the sun. Okay? And remember the video that I did on that. I went in depth on that video. Scroll, scroll, scroll. There's a lot on my channel. A lot. Okay. It's a buffet. it's a godly buffet. All right. So, and it was another type of light that came from him. All right. Well, he is revealing what he did with that light. That light, as well as other things, are stored away for the righteous. Righteous, okay? He created many things, but because of the fall, the unworthy cannot have them. Psalms 97:11, light is sown for the righteous, and gladness for the upright in heart. Job 38:12 and 13. Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the dayspring to know his place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it. The dayspring. God is like just so amazing, isn't he, y'all? Woo! All right, let's go, Lord. All right. So, those who possessed the Tassar had illumination and access to the secrets of the Torah and all its powers. It has been passed down since Adam, and Joseph used it to interpret dreams, and Moses got it from the bones of Joseph and placed it in the tabernacle. The Queen of Sheba, son, had this to say about it from a text, and it's called The Queen of Sheba and Her Only Son, Menyelech, translated by Sir E.A. Wallace. Okay. How the house of Solomon, the king, was illuminated as by day, for in his wisdom he made shining pearls, which were like unto the sun, the moon, and the stars in the roof of his house. Woo! Chills. All right, so the tell of those stones the tell that those stones came from the Paishan River is found in the Targum Yonatan. Genesis 31:11 reads, and the misery followed after them, and came upon them as they were encamped by the sea, gathering of pearls and godly stones, which the river Pishon had carried from the Garden of Eden into the Gihon. The Gihon carried it into the seed of Suf, also known as the Red Sea, and the sea of Suf bad cast upon its bank. So let's look into Jacob's stone. What are you talking about, Mayrain? What are you talking about, Jacob's stone? Well, I'm talking about what God is talking about. And by faith, hopefully you're receiving it and you're going to listen. So Genesis 28:11, it says, after Jacob got the blessing, and these are my notes, okay? So I'm reading them. After Jacob got the blessing from his father, he went on his way as his father had instructed him. He lighted upon a certain place. And then I said, why use the word lighted? And you guys can go look that word up for yourselves, okay? Let's keep going. So the sun was set, and he took the stones of that place and put them for his pillows. And he has the Jacob's ladder dream. And the Lord spoke to him. And when he woke up, he said, "This is the house of God." And he took the stone and set it up as a pillar and poured oil upon it. He makes a vow to God, and the stone is referred to many times, and he calls the place Beth El, when it was formerly called Luz. So many people teach that it was the pineal gland that gave Jacob his dream. However, I think that God is revealing something about the stone. Because why would Jacob take the stone that he laid on and he had a powerful encounter with God while he was asleep? Why would he take the pillow stone and make it a pillar and pour oil upon it if it wasn't significant? Y'all are going to stop talking mess about crystals, gems, and rocks, because God uses them, and he uses them in a powerful way in the patriarchs of our faith. I am not a witch. I am a daughter and a high priestess of El Elyon. Don't get it twisted. Okay? Don't get it twisted. I was going to go into deeper explanation, but the Holy Spirit put his hand over my mouth and said, "Shh, don't tell him. Don't tell him. Don't tell him. They're about to find out. Don't tell him." Don't tell him. All right. So Joseph is rumored to also have had this stone. And the interesting thing is that his grandchild, because on this channel, God told us that Joseph in Egypt is known as Yuya. He is the grandfather of King Tut. So if you go and you look at King Tut's death mask, he has a mixture of stones upon it. And I believe the ancient world knew how to work with stones and crystals much greater than we know today. There is some cool technology out there with some crystals, and there is some cool healing modalities out there with crystals, but we have yet to really happen upon the real power of the crystals. And I believe that that is God orchestrated, because as they were doing in Tyre, also known as Atlantis, they were using godly stones and costly stones in connection with metal breastplates as well as weapons. Okay? In order to do evil. Okay? But God. We cannot forget about but God. Okay? And that is the worthless truth. Because God said it himself. So I know you guys get, all excited and tingly and all this other stuff about, the fallen angel technology, and oh wow, it must have been amazing. No, heaven is amazing. God's technology is amazing. The fallen stuff is worthless. Okay? Over here, we're looking for the worth, the things of worth, and only God can give them. And He's not going to give them to the unrighteous. No. That's not how it works. And He's not going to give it to those who do not enter through the door of His Son, Jesus. Sorry, not sorry. We're not sorry. Okay? There is also the 30, 60, and 100-fold of revelation. Are you in the Holy of Holies? Or are you in the inner court? Or are you in the outer court? Why are you afraid to go to the Holy of Holies? If you've been a believer all your life and you don't have any growth, you haven't graduated past the foundational teachings, you have to ask yourself, whose fault is it? Do I need the Holy Spirit? Yes, you do. Do I need to get refilled with the Holy Spirit? Yes, you do. Do I need to ask for a greater capacity so that I can hold the greater amount of the Holy Spirit? Yes, you do. All right? So, lapis lazuli. When my father passed, I immediately felt the Spirit say, bring your father lapis lazuli and place it in his coffin. And that is what I did. I had no idea of the true significance of it until now. And all I can say is, wow. 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 My dad never spoke bad about my love of crystals. He never put me down for my mystical, whimsical ways. He would always say to me, "You're touched." And I would say, "What does that mean, Dad? What does that mean?" And he would say, that's what that's what my peoples call it. We call people like you touched. And then he would say, "Go look it up, go look it up." Because my dad knew that it would mean more if I found the truth myself than just him giving it to me. And so I went and I looked it up, and it meant touched by God, touched by an angel, someone who is different than the rest, someone who sees heavenly truths and concepts because they have been touched by God. And my dad encouraged his children, myself and my sister, to be curious, to look in the Word, but not just look at it, but look deeper into it. And when my dad passed on, the only thing that I wanted from my dad was his Bible, and I got it. I have my dad's Bible. And I also asked my mother, please do not throw his library away. Because I get my love of books and research from my dad. I get my gifts from my dad and my mom, but the ones that you can see is definitely from my dad. My dad was a great speaker, a great teacher. He comes from a line of church builders, preachers, evangelists, reverends, holy men of God. And my dad was teaching adult Bible study since the age of 12. Why am I going into my father? Because it matters. I am my father's daughter. I carry on the line of my father. It's passed down. My dad had no sons. So who gets the inheritance? His daughters. Okay? And if you don't think that that is right, I challenge you to go look at Moses when the daughters of that person came to Moses and said, our father had no sons. And God said, give the daughters the inheritance. Give it to them. So, yes. So lapis lazuli is an interesting stone. It's known to give dreams, and it's very high vibration. I looked into it because I wanted to know, does it have the capability of glowing? And you know what? It sure does. It sure does. It's thermoluminescence, and the stone does glow. It does glow, y'all. So, in Sirach 24:25, this is what the Lord has to say. Whoever obeys me will not be put to shame, and those who work with me will not sin. All this is the book of the covenant of the Most High God, the law that Moses commanded us as an inheritance for the congregations of Jacob. It overflows like the Pishon River with wisdom, and like the Tigris at the time of the first fruits. It runs over like the Euphrates with understanding, and like the Jordan at harvest time. It pours forth instruction like the Nile, like the Gihon at the time of vintage. The first man did not know wisdom fully, nor will the last one fathom her, or her thoughts are more abundant than the sea, and her counsel deeper than the great abyss. Solomon 5:14 gives this reference when talking about the body of Solomon. Okay, this comes from the Song of Solomon. And it says, glows with lapis lazuli. And I just said, slay me, God. Slay me. So Isaiah 54:9-17, the English Standard Version says, as in the days of Noah. And y'all know that caught my attention right off the bat. Because how many years have we been looking into as in the days of Noah? And God is he's just feeding us. He's just feeding us the revelations of as in the days of Noah. So it says, as in the days of Noah, and then it says further down the line, I will set your stone in antimony. Now that word has always stuck out to me because it's the same word that is used in the book of Enoch about what Azazel taught. And when you look up antimony, It is a mixing of metals, okay, to strengthen them. Nothing they taught was separate from what they learned from God.